NFTs are scams, they're Ponzi schemes, they're simply just ways for the rich to get richer, right? They're ways for the rich to avoid paying taxes, it's how you launder money. Why isn't anyone even paying money for these pointless JPEGs in the first place? There's so much information about NFTs right now, it's hard to know what's legit or what's not. So what do I think about NFTs? Well, personally, I really think that NFTs are a huge stepping stone for the future of crypto and how people interact on a day-to-day basis, and how just a lot of things are going to change in the future with NFTs. I think right now the good side of NFTs are being severely overshadowed and shaded by just the flipping game with NFTs, the hype of NFTs, everyone trying to make a quick buck, the tax evasion, all of that stuff right now gives NFTs a bad name and hides what I think the true future of NFTs are. Because there is an actual use for NFTs and a very promising future for them, and that's what we're going to get into today. But before we start talking about the good side of NFTs, let's go ahead and break down the bad side and the tax evasion, the scammy part, the money laundering, and then at the end of this video, we'll dive into the good side of NFTs and how I think it's going to shape the future. First up, the tax evasion side. Now, the idea here is that these eccentric millionaires and billionaires never want to pay their taxes, right? So what better way to avoid paying taxes than with these anonymous crypto wallets, right? And I'm not gonna lie, it's a great way to do this, but there is some reason why it's not the best way to do this, and there's probably other ways you can get around not paying taxes. So the idea here is that if I have $100,000, I want to write off a bunch of loss against that and not pay as much taxes. What I would do is I would take that $100,000, go put it in my crypto wallet over here, right? And that $100,000 is now in this crypto wallet. Now, what I'm going to do with that $100,000 is I'm going to go buy, say, 100 different NFTs that all cost $1,000. Now, obviously, I'm simplifying the numbers here so it's easier to kind of digest. So let's say I buy 100 NFTs that all cost $1,000, meaning my full $100,000 is now locked into these NFTs. Now what I'm going to go do is I have this one wallet that holds that $1,000 worth of NFTs. I'm going to go now create a new crypto wallet, and what I'm going to do with this empty crypto wallet I just created, which by the way, these wallets are all anonymous. I can't track down who owns this if they don't want me to. So now what I'm going to do with this crypto wallet, or better yet, I would make multiple crypto wallets to make it look less sketchy, is now I am going to buy those NFTs from my other wallet, right? So I'm going to sell my NFTs that I bought all for $1,000 to my other crypto wallets for $300, meaning that I just lost $700, right? Except not really, because I still own all those NFTs and they're still worth $1,000 if I wanted to resell them. But what does this do, right? Now this allows me, when it comes tax time, that $100,000 I poured into NFTs that I just sold off all of them for a huge loss. I sold them all for a loss of $700. That means now when tax time comes, that $100,000 I spent, I now get to write off a $70,000 loss against that 100 grand because I sold my 100 NFTs I owned for $700 less. So I get to write off that $70,000 loss against that 100 grand. Now that's a great way to do that, but it's not the most efficient way to do it because you'd have to create a ton of different wallets, right? If you're trying to hide a lot of money, because obviously if you just send all that to one wallet, it's going to look a little bit sketchy and it's going to get caught on to pretty quick. But even then, most of the wallets are all anonymous, so it wouldn't be that easy to find that person. So while this is a good way to avoid paying taxes, there are a lot of easier ways, like setting up charitable donations, setting up charitable trusts and all of that stuff where you can just pour all of your money into and trickle it back to you and not have to pay taxes that way. But that's a different video, setting up charity trusts to avoid paying taxes. Let me know down below if you want to see me make a video about that, because it's pretty interesting and this is actually really legit way to get away with not paying taxes on capital gains, especially when it comes to cryptocurrency, because people are making so much money doing that. So if you want me to make a video on an actual legal, 100% legal, non-sketchy way at all to not pay taxes on your capital gains, comment down below and I'll make that video for you all right? Now let's talk about the money laundering. Now this is pretty legitimate and I'm sure this happens a lot because it's very easy to do this right now, because let's be honest, cryptocurrencies are still fairly new and there's really no regulation into this industry yet. It's still like the wild west right now of this digital age, and people can get away with tons of crazy things. So one of those being money laundering. Now let's talk about how this would work. So let's say I'm an illegal guy and I do illegal stuff. So let's say someone wired me $1 million for some illegal activities, or I stole that money from someone, right? Or I hacked some billionaire's account and I stole $1 million from them, right? So let's say I now have this illegal $1 million that I need to make look legit. So then what I would theoretically do, right, is I would make myself a crypto wallet and I would make an NFT. I would upload a series of NFTs, probably not just one, but we'll just stick to one NFT to make this simple. So I would go make an NFT and upload it onto the blockchain, right? And then I'd make a new crypto wallet and then I would buy that NFT that I just made for $1 million, making this look like a legitimate transaction. Now, obviously though, like I just said, no one's gonna do this with just one NFT, or maybe they might, but you'd be better off making a handful of NFTs and then buying them with a handful of crypto wallets. That way you can make all these transactions look legit, and they're in smaller bundles of like a $5,000, $10,000, $50,000, $100,000, right? Instead of just one big $1 million purchase. Now that is actually super legitimate way to do this, because not only are you sending that money through the blockchain, making it completely anonymous and basically impossible to track down who that money is actually going to, I just made that look like super legitimate purchase, right? Because I just bought an NFT for $1 million. So now that illegal money that I got has now been dispersed through a handful of different NFTs. Now, obviously not everyone's going to be out here laundering a few million bones through NFTs, because it's going to look super sketch pretty quick. But like I was talking about, you'd break that money up into a few hundred bags here and there, making it look super legit, and it would be extremely easy to launder money. And that's how I already know. People already do this a ton on the blockchain right now. And now, before we start jumping into the light side of NFTs, let's talk lastly about the get rich quick scheme of NFTs, which is just absolutely, it just, the whole thing of this baffles me, how quickly and how easy it is to make money creating these collections of NFTs and selling them to people. Now, I'm not going to throw any particular crypto projects under the bus here, but there are a lot out there doing this exact thing. But I'm not going to name drop in this video. I'm just not going to do that right now. Now, let's say I want to make a few quick bags through the next upcoming months here, because I'm trying to buy that Lambo, man. I'm trying to get that Lambo. I'm trying to be like Drake flying in Air Drizzy. Okay, like, you get it. You know what I mean. Like, I'm trying to get the bags just like anybody else. So one of the easiest ways to do that is basically rip a bunch of people off using NFTs. Now, remember, this is for entertainment purposes only. This is not advice. I'm not trying to tell you to go and do this to make some bags. This is definitely not the way to go about making money, at least in my opinion. So what am I going to do though, right? So to start out, I need to create some NFTs. So I'm going to go ahead and hop over onto like Fiverr or Upwork or something like that, where I can hire a digital artist to make me some NFTs. And let's say I want them to make me, I don't know, 10,000 NFTs, but what are my NFTs going to be? Well, something random. Let's say walruses. I want them to make me 10,000 unique walruses. Now, this is probably going to cost me quite a bit of money up front, because hiring digital artists, especially right now for NFTs, is extremely expensive, because everyone's trying to do this, make their own collections, and make some money. So let's say they've now made me those 10,000 unique walruses. Now what I need to do is I need to build an insane amount of hype around my walrus NFT collection, right? I need to build a crazy amount of hype and get a mass amount of people behind that movement. That way, when I sell these things, they're going to sell out. So where do I start? Well, I'm going to start by making a Twitter, making a Discord, and making an Instagram. Now, the first thing I do when I create all of those is I'm going to buy a bunch of followers, probably at least 25 to 50,000 followers for my Instagram and for my Twitter account. It's going to cost me quite a bit of money again up front. Then I'm going to go back to Fiverr or Upwork to hire someone to post a bunch of content onto my Twitter and my Instagram, and then to trickle out a bunch more content over the next upcoming months until my launch date. So now I have a huge amount of followers on Instagram and Twitter, while even though they are fake, and I have my social media person that I hired off of Fiverr or Upwork now slowly trickling out content every single day, getting the word out about my project. What is this going to do? Well, obviously it's going to actually start to bring in and collect some legitimate traffic and real people actually interested now in this collection. Because as a real person, you know, let's say you come across my walrus collection and on Twitter I have 50,000 followers and all of my posts are getting a ton of engagement and likes and retweets or whatever it is and comments. Now what, you're looking at that and you're going like, oh shoot, like this is like a legit walrus collection. Like I can get in on this and make some money. So you tell your friends, you post about it in your Discord, and now people start joining my walrus Discord community, right? And that's how I build the hype artificially at first, but that's how it gradually turns into real people following and real people actually getting hyped up about it, because I bought all this fake followers and engagement to make it look like I already had a big movement. And now I have amassed, 30, 40, 50,000 real people into my walrus movement community here for my NFT collection. So just like that, now over the matter of a few months, I have a huge following behind me, and I have I have a huge following behind me. I have all my walruses ready. Now I decided, with my 10,000 walruses, what do I want to list these for? So let's say I want these to mint for zero point 0.1 Ethereum, right? So they're going to list for 0.1 Ethereum. On November 11th, 2021, the price of 0.1 Ethereum sits around $476 currently for 0.1 Ethereum. Okay, so now my minting price is 0.1 Ethereum. I have a ton of people in my Discord now. I have a ton of people waiting for this project to drop. Actually super excited about it. I have this whole kind of community built around my walrus gang now. Now it's time for my launch date. Now these things all launch for 0.1 Ethereum. All 10,000 sell out, of course, because why wouldn't they? They got all this hype around them, right? Everyone thinks if they get in and buy in now that these things are going to be worth a ton of money. So now that all 10,000 of those have sold out for 0.1 Ethereum, you multiply that 10,000 unique NFTs that I just sold times my 0.1 Ethereum, that comes out to around $4,760,000 just for a few months of some NFT fun. $4,760,000.
Smart motherfucker, that's right.
Now, I already know in the comments, you're like, well, what about the expenses for uploading to OpenSea? And what about the expenses you have to pay to your developers and all that? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, yeah, sure, I hear you. Let's say my expenses, worst case scenario, were $1 million. $1 million. That is probably way too high, but let's just say I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. $1 million is what I paid in expenses to upload all of these NFTs, to have them all be able to be minted, to have them all be designed, to get all the hype, to get all the followers. Let's say $1 million in expenses. I am still walking away with over $3.7 million for an NFT collection of walruses that I built up around the fake hype and buying Twitter followers, right? Like, it's seriously, it's crazy. And people are doing this right now as we speak, and it's working, and they're making off like bandits. I mean, you see the same thing right now with people pumping these random altcoins like Squid. Anyone down in the comments below, let me know if you got in on that Squid. And, a moment of silence for you if you did. I'm really sorry. There's so many ways in the digital world now to build up so much fake hype and make things seem bigger than they are. And yeah, of course, me sitting here talking about this in my studio sounds way easier than it probably was. Sure, it's a lot of work, but I mean, for like basically faking your way through it, making a quick 3.7 milli, probably more than that. I mean, that's not bad at all. That's right. I didn't even mention the best part is, guess what they also did? On all those NFTs, they set a royalty fee, right? A smart contract of 5% that anytime one of their NFT sells, they get to make 5% royalty off of that. They get 5% of the sale. I mean, just for example, some of these crypto projects, just in 24 hours, the volume of their trading is upwards of hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars. And if you are one of those people who started a project that is trading at over hundreds of thousands of dollars every 24 hours, 5% of, $500,000 every 24 hours, yeah, you're probably going to be all right for the next few years of your life, raking in those royalties every 24 hours or every second one of those things sells. It's ridiculous. But enough of the dark side of NFTs. Let's finally explore the light. Let us fill the glorious light in the true future of what I think NFTs are going to be in the upcoming years, 10 to 15, 20-ish years. One of the first reasons why I think this new kind of digital wave of art is going to change the future is because, imagine this, right? Small artists or even large artists. Before, the traditional way this kind of happens, right, is say I sell a piece of art for $1,500. Now let's say that piece of art trades hands a couple of times and now all of a sudden it's worth $35,000, right? Well, when I sold that for $1,500, that's the only money I ever got. I never got any more money from any other transactions that happened with that piece of art. But with this new wave of digital transactions, when I upload that piece of digital art onto my OpenSea, for example, I can put in a smart contract for that piece of art, meaning that whenever that piece of art sells, I get 5% of that sale, right? I'm getting a royalty still. So even though as a smaller artist, I can now benefit for that piece trading hands and becoming worth more and more value, which means that I'm always getting the rewards of that selling, and my art is always going to be making me money no matter what happens whenever it trades hands, right? So I'm always going to be getting a kickback, which puts more power back into my hands. And the great thing about this is you don't need anyone in fancy suits, lawyers, or anyone to set this up. If you have access to like a computer, a laptop, a phone, a desktop, whatever it is, Wi-Fi, you can literally do this, and it's super easy and super user friendly. Now, the benefits don't just stop there for people who can can just create digital art. And this is where I think NFTs get really, really exciting. This benefits all types of creators, small musicians, small bands, people who publish their own books, people who direct like indie films and whatnot. This is going to benefit all of them. And let's talk about how. So let's say you have a musician that wants to raise some money to put out their first album. And as everybody knows, putting out an album is kind of pricey, right? It's not the cheapest thing to do to produce really high quality music and put out an album. It takes a good amount of money to get things like that going. So the traditional way to do this, right, is, well, you have to go get signed by a record label. Now, everybody knows, especially with younger artists, that when you sign under a record label, you're going to be giving up a large amount of the money that you could be making, right? Because that record label is going to take a huge cut out of the money you make. Same goes with people who want to publish a book, right? Book publishing companies are going to take a large percent. Same with people who want to raise some money from indie film, right? They can go and raise that money from investors who are also going to be taking a large cut out of their paychecks when the movie comes out. So instead of these creators going to record labels, to book publishing companies, to investors to fund their projects, to get their movies out there, to get their music out there, whatever it is, right? Instead of going to these people to get their money, instead what they can do is make an NFT collection to help crowdfund their projects. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, why would anybody want to invest in some random artist NFT projects to help them crowdfund money? The reason this works is because of the same reason why something like Kickstarter works, right? Because if you believe in a product or you believe in a person or a brand or whatever it is, you're going to put your money behind them. You're going to invest into them. If I go buy one of their NFTs for $500, right, and they make that $500, they're not able to go use that money, hire some actors for their film or buy new film equipment or whatever it is, right? And if tons of people buy into this group for this indie director and we all crowdfund in and buy their collection up and help them raise a ton of money to get their film out there, well, now let's say in, 2 or 3 years, that indie director is now directing, I don't know, like a Marvel movie or a Disney movie. Maybe they're directing a huge movie now and there's some big director. Well, now my investment, that $500, that collection I bought into a few years ago, is most likely going to be worth a whole lot more now as that artist or that creator is growing. Their collection is now becoming worth more and more money, right? Because they're getting more and more popular, which means not only did they benefit from me investing into them, but now in a few years when I get to sell that NFT for a profit, maybe even a big profit or maybe even a smaller profit, I am now getting to also benefit from that because I invested it into someone I liked watching or listening to, or I loved their art or reading their books. Now I'm getting rewarded down the line and more money back in my hands because I invested into them at the beginning. And I truly think this is one of the coolest parts of NFTs and the potential future here. I mean, just think about it. Me as a musician, why would I go to a record label when I can make an NFT collection and crowdfund from a group of people who already love me, know me, and like me, buying up my NFT collection, giving me the money to give me the runway to go get my music out there, to go record more music, to give me money to go, do some marketing campaigns or whatever it is. And in the future, they could get heavily rewarded. Say if I, blow up in 5 or 10 years and, I'm some big musician now they get to seriously reap back the rewards of that. So I think that's really one of the coolest potential uses of NFTs in the future. So let me know down below in the comments if you think that actually has a legit chance of being a way for, smaller creators, even bigger creators to crowdfund money. Next, there are some NFTs that have an actual physical utility use to them. For example, you can buy NFT collections like if you own one of Gary Vee's VeeFriends NFTs from his VeeFriend collection, you are granted exclusive access to some of his events. And this is what a lot of NFT collections are doing now. Very small number of NFTs are being sold. If you happen to own one of those, you are basically invited or you're granted access to these super exclusive events or clubs or groups, whatever it is, right? I mean, there's literally an NFT that is going to be launching soon, or maybe it's already out there, that is promising to grant you access to private remote islands if you own one of their NFTs. Which just sounds ridiculous that you can buy a JPEG online on your computer and then get access to a super private luxury island. I mean, how ridiculous does that sound? Buying an NFT and getting exclusive access to like a private resort or private luxury island, right? I mean, that sounds just crazy, but I highly suspect in the near future, sooner than you think, there are going to be tons of artists and organizations who sell NFTs as a way to give you exclusive access to certain things. Maybe your favorite artist is Billie Eilish or Kid Cudi or A$AP Rocky, whoever it is, right? Maybe they sell a limited NFT collection that gives those people who own or hold that NFT exclusive access to their concerts, exclusive access to, their backstage or VIP rooms, whatever it is, right? I think there's a big potential for that to happen, because then not only is the artist going to make a buttload of money, or the organization make a buttload of money off of them selling those NFTs that give exclusive access to different various things. Anytime someone sells their NFT, or basically selling their access to these events, that artist or that organization is getting a kickback off of that, right? If they set a smart contract and put a royalty in there. Now, there are so many other reasons that we could talk about here of why I think NFTs are going to really help pave the future of cryptocurrency and other digital products, but we just don't have time to talk about that all here in this video today. Now, I think the future of NFTs is super enticing and extremely exciting, and I can't wait to see what the future holds. I think it's really hard, though, for people to see through all of the hype and kind of that thin veil of like the get rich quick stuff and all like the kind of schemy, kind of scummy stuff going on right now with NFTs, and even just all kinds of other cryptos right now. I think it's hard for traditional investors or traditional people even to see through that stuff. And trust me, I get that side of NFTs, the, getting rich quick, the flipping NFTs. I get that, because why not take advantage of the hype while it's here? I mean, I'm going to definitely try and take advantage of the hype while it's here and try and make some money off of the hype. But that doesn't mean that I don't believe in the future of NFTs and the future of different crypto projects I'm investing in and working on. I think there's plenty of legitimate collections and there's plenty of legitimate crypto projects going on that are going to seriously impact and change the future in just crazy good ways. So thanks for watching today's video, everyone. I hope I could kind of maybe shine some light on the bright future of NFTs and why I think they're going to be here to stay for a long time. Let me know down in the comments if you disagree with me. I want to argue with some of you down in the comments below, and I'll see if I can play devil's advocate to your argument and see if, maybe we can find a middle ground or just who's the better debater. So comment down below what you think about NFTs. Is there an actual legitimate future for them? And if you want to see my video about me trying to flip NFTs, you can click to watch that video right here, and let me know of the upcoming crypto projects, the altcoins, whatever it is you're invested in, because I'm trying to get that Lambo. I'm trying to retire early and just fly around in my Boeing like Air Drizzy. You know how it is. Thanks for watching this video, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.